this November. If you want to buy a house now, you don't
have any advice for real estate buyers that want to come into Singapore and use the loans as well? Where would be a place to get loans? So these are real estate investing. Nothing beats that. Welcome to another episode of Charlie Giang. We're gonna interview a very experienced lawyer today. His name is Lionel Yun, and he owns his own law firm, and he's been in conservancy for a very long time. We're gonna ask him some secrets of the real estate market, and then I'm not sure how this chat is gonna be, but we're gonna learn a lot of stuff from him today. Hi, Lionel. So how long have you been how long have you been a lawyer?
So I've been a lawyer since 2010. That's when I get called to the bar. So conveyancing wise, about since 2011 till now. So about 12, 13 over years.
Oh wow. Okay. How long have you owned your own firm?
So I started my firm actually in 2017. Just felt that I had to do a certain direction, and I had to do my own, shake up the conveyancing industry.
Shake it up. We're definitely gonna circle back and ask you what that means.
Yeah. So being the new boy on the block, I will put it that way. Things.
Conveyancing is mostly owned by very old lawyers.
Yeah, that's right. So.
You're probably the youngest one out there who owns his own law firm.
Possibly, yeah. I think I'm the only one currently, which I know of. Yeah.
What made you want to go into it in the first place?
It's people just say that the industry is a sunset industry, but I really don't think so. I find that there's still room to improve, room to grow. Yeah, the industry is always booming. There's always houses upcoming, on blocks ongoing, and there are always new buildings coming up, some new hot under construction place, whether it's residential, commercial. I think there's room. There's a lot of room to grow. As long as Singapore, we have our space.
Why not something a little bit more exciting, like litigation, like corporate law, where you get to meet rich and famous people, and then you put together deals that people only dream about? Why conveyancing? It's so.
Yeah, so I think some say it's a very paperwork heavy, administrative, but I think everybody has their own cup of tea. I think if you're litigation, you like the thrill of going to court. Adversarial, you like the win, you like the fun in that. But I think not really for me. I think that's not mine. Corporate law, I think it's something that I will sleep. Really in the contract.
Corporate law?
I think it's too word based, too heavy for me. I think.
But isn't corporate law like you have a whole bunch of different situations for every single case? It's not. There will not be two immediately similar cases or identical cases.
Yeah, I believe. Yeah, I think corporate, like all any areas of law, every case is different. But I think it still comes down to based to the individual, whether you like it. If you like coffee, you like coffee. You like tea, you like tea. You can't do much about that. Yeah. So.
Well, I'm glad there's at least some young blood in the industry, so it's not so the industry won't be so old.
We'll see.
That's a good thing.
I think whether there's new young blood, we will have to see.
But you're young. You're probably the youngest lawyer in the industry, so that's good.
I think as a owner of a firm, yes, I think so. I'll be only few. But I think there are always young blood in. I think working for other people as an employee, I think they will be. Lawyers, we have to, after getting called, we have to go somewhere. So the question is where, whether is it here or somewhere else.
I'm sure you also bring a whole bunch of different spin to the industry, because it's much needed right now. I believe some updates on it, including technology, including a whole range of new things that's happening right now. I believe at one stage, at some point in our little conversation today, we're going to talk about AI as well, and where you see that happening. But just curious, where do you think the Singapore's real estate market is right now, and where do you think it's going to go? Personal opinion, obviously, 100%.
Opinion, where is it going to go? I think after COVID, I think things has changed quite a fair bit. I think for example, I think the under construction industry so far, I think the land scarce, I think not much has been released for quite recent years, I think, but end up like, for example, I think this year a lot of properties actually has TOP. Developers are actually releasing all the previous pool of houses, getting it done, getting it released, but because of COVID, I feel that there's a lot of it stopped quite a fair bit. I think there was also some changes with the taxes with IRAS.
ABSD.
Whether is it ABSD or even the IRAS is actually taxing the developers themselves. There's a change of rules. So this one is, I think, without going too much in depth, but we can actually Google it and find out
what the changes are.
Yeah, what the changes are. But that doesn't really affect people as an individual, but I think it affects the developers. But it trickles down to how much they are pricing, how much they release, the size. I think it all goes down to that, boils down to that after a while. Yeah. So if you're asking me how is it going to go, change next few years, I think there will still be properties released. I think even for HDBs, they're really online. The government has already said how many they're releasing, where. All this can be seen, and you can see from there.
Do you see the number of transactions going up in the next couple of years, or has it been down because of all the changes in policy changes and regulations?
Going up. When you say going up, meaning like, what
are there more activities, more buying and selling?
If you talk about activities, we always best will follow what has been actually officially been declared. I think this week they were saying that the transactions actually dropped comparatively
for this year.
For this year, for this month, also comparatively to last year. I think it's really
a huge drop, right?
Yeah, it's a huge drop. Yeah.
Is there a reason for that?
I think ABSD is one. Of course, government has all the regulations in place to for the benefit of the Singapore population. Yeah.
Right.
So that is for your residentials. I think they were also saying the recent regulation for shophouses. I think that also has caused quite a fair bit of a dip recently also. So at this stage, I think that if you're looking at the buying and selling, yes, it is overall as a drop comparatively.
So is it a good time to come in the market? Or not?
I think that we always have to.
You just bought a house yourself, right? So obviously you think it's a good idea.
I bought a house. I think this because of our other regulations for MOE, whereby my kids are in primary school, so I have to. There's other factors coming into this. So it will really be dependent on whether you're an investor.
So you scoured the entire property market, looking at 1 kilometer radius and what the schools were within
that's it. 1 kilometer radius. Is it too far for your kids to take a bus or walk?
It makes a lot of sense. You are at that age where you need to look at buying properties that will be in this category. So that's not such a bad thing.
Yeah.
Good job. Good daddy.
But I would like to say that there are always other things. Look at just not purely buying, selling. There are other things in our industry, like even refinancing or repricing. All of this is things to look into. But this data, I think you can't find such data around. But there are other things that that plays a part into the buying and selling of also properties.
The interest rates from the banks right now for mortgage rates is probably the single biggest factors for the slowing down of the market right now. Would I be wrong to say that?
Yes, the interests are actually not say an all-time high. I think the start of 2023 was as an all-time high, but it's been gradually decreasing. So I think as of today, currently, I think is around the 3.0 mark. Also, there are other things to look at because certain data you can't receive outside. Because for governments, I think, or for people, even for agents, the easiest way to see is the caveats. The caveats, whether it's been posted or not. That's another thing. Even the caveats, sometimes it might not be fully accurate. So whether is it there,
because there's a lot of private transactions.
Yes, a lot of private transactions that might not even be reflected or captured in the system. So, well, it's always a good benchmark where you're looking at where the data is from.
The $64 million question here is this: despite the slowing down of in transactions, why hasn't the price come down?
Okay, transaction-wise, I think conveyancing is, how should we put it? Free from, I think, free from the economy and all the effects, or even worldwide. For example, COVID is a prime example. So, even with COVID, people, end of the day, you still need to buy a house. You still need to move. Even from my side, is I have to buy for my child, for example. So we are not bound by the effects of the world. It might drop, yes, but it cannot be zero, kind of thing.
So the demand will always be there.
They will always be there. The question is how much. Yeah. So I also give other examples, like for kids, it's for myself, or how about it's also another common factor, like divorces, for example. You know, in Singapore, like it or not, we always have HDB, we have a private property. There will be, if you go through divorce, someone has to settle your assets. But this is also a form of a transaction. Yeah. It might not be reflected, but the transaction is still there. So, like when you do a divorce, you do a transferring, or whether is it with money, no money kind of thing, the banks are involved. There's still a transaction, but is that really considered a buy and sell? Or that one is what you have to, depends on how you consider it.
So another question. With the market being low, has there been an increase in divorce?
I think that is towards. I think that what I understood, because it's again not my area, is I think after COVID, I think the divorce rate actually went up. I think. Yeah.
During COVID, especially.
Actually, COVID, no. Actually,
because they were made to stay together in the same house.
Stay together in the same house, and where all the dirt finally comes out. Yeah. So I think this one, I think the data can be found, I think, from our government also. So, but I believe that it actually increased now, I would say so. Or after coming out, it started.
Can you share a story that you did in conveyancing? What is the most memorable one where it involved a case where it involved divorce? Any interesting stories or funny stories to tell?
Funny stories to tell. I think BDPA
where the wife calls you up and say, "Hey, hello, excuse me, I want out the whole house myself. Why can't I have it?" And the husband goes, "No." I'm sure there'll be a bunch of stories like that.
I think actually when it comes down to us, most of the time it's already been settled, but.
Because you're not a divorce lawyer, you're just a conveyancing, so you execute.
Many years ago, I was trained, but that was not my my take. I actually changed to conveyancing. But if you want to say, it's more, how I say, like, the atmosphere in the meeting rooms, I think is quite tense sometimes, whereby you have the ex-husband, ex-wife, and. Right. In the same room, having to sign, documents when they frankly don't want to see each other ever again, but yet they still have to resolve everything. We have to pen it down, for the government, for the regulatory bodies, or even for the banks, talking about the money. Even though it's all done in the interim judgment, final judgments, but you still have to come down and say, hey, hello, Lionel, I'm who and who. And we sit down and have a nice tense environment for the next 15 minutes, 20 minutes.
Have you ever been in a situation where husband and wife don't want to see each other but have to be in the same area, but you put them in separate rooms?
We have, but usually Well, that comes to how much they're willing to pay. You know, if you want us to, have separate meetings, if you can pay, sure. So they do sometimes, but we try to make it as what you call it, gentle with them as best as we can.
Or as painless as possible.
As painless as possible. We try our best.
Yeah, that's very, very interesting. We had 3 ABSD introductions over the periods of COVID. The question here is this: what do you think of that, and do you think we'll get a 4th anytime soon? I know you don't run policy, but just your 2 cents worth.
I think that if you look at it from the very beginning, where the first one was in 2012, the government has always been coming in with new ways to reduce the transactions or for people to buy properties, especially for foreigners. Since 2012, I think there's a good few changes. Every time there is a change, yes, a lot of people are very afraid, and then they will hold back. But again, I feel that it is how much an individual can stomach the risk. But you must remember that the mass market might say, hey, time to stop. But there are also opportunists whereby they say, hey, because of this, the market might drop, price might drop. They will be the reverse kind of people also to come into the market and, I don't know, fully paid off. Those that are that I would say speculate, but they are more in the know of the industry. But I will believe that yes, it does help to reduce it. The question is how much. Data, again, we won't know. Government won't know. But also, the thing is, as humans, I think if you keep on using the same method, which is increase. So for example, Singapore citizens first one is 0, then the second one I think now is 25, and then the third one is 30. This one again, you can go online to check. So yeah, you increase, but how many Singaporeans can really afford a second one at 25? People will still always buy the first one, or another way of doing it is maybe have one property each, for example.
Yeah, the ABSC, so it's affected a lot of transactions.
It does affect transactions, yes. But on my personal take, ABSD I think has one off its flair. I think it's not as much of a kick anymore.
Everybody got used to
we
ABSD
got used to it. Another ABSD,
another one.
Not much, and. Even you increase the foreigners to 60%, and truthfully, if the foreigner is really enough money, what is really 60% to them?
We've gotten so used to all these policies, changes that we're like, another one. Okay,
it's okay. Then we just
it becomes a bit of a humbug thing. It's no longer oh my god, wow. It stirs up the entire industry.
That's the other thing. So the one that's really will hit people hard is the one whereby they affect the TDSR. That one will affect people. That's what my take is.
Wow.
That when you increase the TDSR, that means your ability to pay your monthly installments, that one will be affected. Whereby if you the TDSR is the one that will actually cost more of a pinch comparatively to an ABSD.
That's true. The TDSR, because it affects the ability to pay.
And because it affects the ability to pay, so for example, your maximum loan that you can take from the bank is get affected. So you need to fork out that extra hundreds of thousands of dollars, for per change of TDSR. So it is also a double-edged thing. Reason is that you do cover the people that want to buy another property, but it also affects the people that want to upgrade. For example, HDB upgraders, or young families, want to buy an EC, or want to buy a new private property, for matrimonial home. TDSR affects. That will affect, but that will also affect your first timers also. So it is a balance that has to be seen. So not just like a cover all. Yes, ABAC is more of a cover all because you are talking about property 2, 3 and onwards.
Yeah, so the last couple of ABSD really didn't affect the first time buyers at all.
It will not, because at the end of the day, I feel that the policy is still to protect the Singaporeans as a whole, and the PRs.
The policy is still to help Singaporeans
Yes.
find a place
to stay,
live.
Yes.
A dwelling place, basically.
Correct. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And because of that, we are a land scarce place. So the government basically have these policies to dissuade people to buy investment properties, buy more than one that they actually need to live in, rather than just buying one. And if you have the ability to buy a second and a third and a fourth and a fifth,
right.
In the US it's quite common where if you find an investor, once he owns more than his first one and he starts buying the second, third, he doesn't want to stop. He goes on and own, like Richard Kawasaki owns like 2,000 properties under him, and a lot of my friends I know own 10, 20, 30, and they bought it over a very short period of time. So I guess the Singapore government will prevent something like this.
Yeah, so people still need the place to stay for the locals, Singaporeans, have a place to stay, call home.
Okay. I'm going to ask you something very controversial right now, and everybody wants to know about this, and basically it's 1991.